There's a liquid in your car that costs $150 to change but $8,000 to ignore, yet the automotive industry has convinced millions of drivers that they never need to touch it. I'm talking about transmission fluid, and the lifetime fluid myth is one of the most expensive lies in the car business. Major automakers started marketing transmissions with so-called lifetime fluid in the 2000s, claiming you never need to change it. This has led to an epidemic of premature transmission failures, costing vehicle owners billions of dollars. Here's the truth that transmission repair shops know. There is no such thing as lifetime transmission fluid. Every transmission fluid breaks down over time from heat, friction, and contamination. According to the Automatic Transmission Rebuilders Association, the average lifespan of a modern automatic transmission is only 120,000 miles, down from over 200,000 miles in previous generations. The primary reason is neglected fluid maintenance. A transmission flush costs $150 to $250. A transmission rebuild costs $3,000 to $8,000. The math is simple, yet 70% of vehicle owners never change their transmission fluid because they believe the lifetime fluid marketing. Keep watching because I'm going to show you exactly why transmission fluid must be changed, when to do it, and how this simple maintenance can save you thousands. Hey, if you like this kind of straight-to-the-point content with no BS, help me out here. Subscribe to the channel right now. It takes 2 seconds and guarantees you won't miss any tips that could save you some serious cash. Let me start by explaining what transmission fluid actually does and why the lifetime fluid claim is technically misleading. Your automatic transmission is an incredibly complex piece of machinery with hundreds of moving parts, including clutch packs, planetary gears, valve bodies, and hydraulic pistons. The transmission fluid serves 5 critical functions. First, it provides hydraulic pressure to operate clutches and shift gears. The entire transmission works on hydraulic pressure, and the fluid is what transmits that pressure. Second, it lubricates all the moving metal parts to prevent wear. Third, it cools the transmission by carrying heat away from friction surfaces to the transmission cooler. Fourth, it cleans by suspending wear particles and contaminants in the fluid to be caught by the filter. Fifth, it protects against corrosion of internal metal components. For the fluid to do all these jobs effectively, it must maintain specific properties, including viscosity, friction characteristics, and chemical stability. When automakers say lifetime fluid, what they actually mean is the fluid is designed to last the expected service life of the vehicle as defined by the manufacturer. But here's the catch. Manufacturers define service life as the warranty period, or slightly beyond, typically around 100 to 150,000 miles. They don't design for the vehicle to last 300,000 miles. They design for it to last through the warranty plus enough time that transmission failure happens after you've already bought your next car. This is planned obsolescence built into the system. The transmission fluid starts breaking down from day one. Every time you drive, the fluid experiences heat, friction, and mechanical stress. Temperatures inside an automatic transmission can reach 250 to 350 degrees Fahrenheit during normal driving. In stop and go traffic, towing, or hot climates, temperatures can exceed 400 degrees. At these temperatures, the fluid oxidizes, meaning it reacts with oxygen and breaks down chemically. Oxidized fluid loses its lubricating properties, becomes acidic, and forms sludge and varnish deposits. These deposits clog passages, stick valves, and interfere with clutch operation. Additionally, microscopic metal particles from normal wear contaminate the fluid. Clutch material from the friction discs breaks down and creates debris. All of this contamination remains suspended in the fluid until the filter catches it, but filters have limited capacity. Eventually, the filter becomes saturated and contaminated fluid circulates through the transmission, causing accelerated wear. According to testing by independent laboratories and transmission specialists, transmission fluid begins to degrade significantly after 30,000 miles or 3 years of service. By 60,000 miles, the fluid has lost considerable protective properties. Beyond 100,000 miles without a change, the fluid is essentially doing more harm than good, accelerating wear rather than preventing it. Now let me explain the real-world consequences of never changing transmission fluid and why this is causing an epidemic of transmission failures. The Automatic Transmission Rebuilders Association reports that transmission failures have increased dramatically since manufacturers started promoting lifetime fluid. Transmissions that used to routinely last 200,000 miles with proper fluid maintenance now fail at 120 to 150,000 miles when fluid is never changed. The symptoms of transmission failure due to degraded fluid follow a predictable pattern. First, you'll notice delayed engagement when shifting from park to drive or reverse. The transmission hesitates for a second or two before engaging. This happens because degraded fluid doesn't build hydraulic pressure as quickly. Second, you'll feel harsh or rough shifts. Instead of smooth gear changes, the transmission clunks or jerks between gears. This occurs because contaminated fluid causes clutch packs to grab inconsistently. Third, you might experience slipping, where the engine revs, but the car doesn't accelerate proportionally. The transmission briefly loses power transfer between gears. This happens when clutches wear and can't hold pressure due to contaminated fluid. Fourth, you'll see the transmission temperature light or check engine light with transmission-related codes. The computer detects abnormal operating conditions. Fifth, you might notice shuddering or vibration during acceleration. This indicates clutches are damaged and grabbing erratically. Once you experience any of these symptoms, the damage is already done. You can change the fluid at this point, but it won't reverse the internal wear. You're looking at transmission repair or replacement. The cost depends on your vehicle. A typical front-wheel drive, sedan, or compact SUV transmission rebuild costs $3,000 to $5,000. Rear-wheel drive vehicles and trucks cost $4,000 to $6,000. Luxury vehicles and performance cars can cost $6,000 to $8,000. If you need a complete replacement with a new or remanufactured transmission, add another $1,000 to $2,000. Compare this to the cost of preventive maintenance. A transmission fluid exchange service costs $150 to $250 at most shops. This service involves connecting a machine to your transmission that exchanges old fluid for new while the engine runs, ensuring nearly complete fluid replacement. Some shops still do drain and fill, which only replaces 60 to 70% of the fluid and costs less, around $100, but isn't as effective. Even if you do a complete flush every 30,000 miles, that's 5 or 6 services over 150,000 miles at $200 each, totaling about $1,000 to $1,200. That's still 75 to 85% cheaper than one transmission rebuild, and your transmission will last twice as long. Here's what the actual maintenance schedule should be, regardless of what your owner's manual says. For normal driving, change transmission fluid every 50 to 60,000 miles or every 4 to 5 years. For severe driving conditions, including frequent towing, mountain driving, extreme temperatures, stop-and-go traffic, or commercial use, change fluid every 30,000 miles or 3 years. Yes, many owners' manuals say fluid never needs changing or give intervals of 100,000 miles or more. Ignore this. The manual minimizes perceived maintenance costs during warranty. Follow the schedule based on what transmission specialists recommend. Let me address the common objection. Won't changing fluid on a high-mileage transmission cause problems? Partially true, but misunderstood. If a transmission has 150,000 miles and fluid was never changed, it likely has internal wear and deposits. New fluid with detergent properties can dislodge deposits that were plugging leaks or worn seals. This can cause leaking or slipping. However, this doesn't mean fluid change caused failure. The transmission was already failing. The fluid change revealed existing damage. If you never change engine oil and sludge builds up, then change it at 150,000 miles. The engine might fail shortly after because removing sludge exposes worn parts. That doesn't mean oil changes are bad. It means you should have done them all along. Same applies to transmission fluid. Start early and maintain schedule. If you buy a used car with unknown history, check transmission fluid condition. If it's dark brown or black and smells burnt, have a shop evaluate before changing it. They might recommend leaving it if there are damage symptoms, but if fluid looks reasonably good, change it and maintain going forward. Now let me tell you how to check transmission fluid. Some vehicles have a dipstick labeled and located toward the back of engine bay. With engine running and warmed up, pull dipstick, wipe clean, reinsert fully, pull out again. Fluid level should be between hash marks. Color and smell indicate condition. Fresh automatic transmission fluid is bright red or pink and smells slightly sweet. As it ages, it darkens to dark red, then brown. If it's dark brown or black, it's overdue. If it smells burnt, transmission experienced overheating and fluid is severely degraded. Many newer vehicles don't have dipsticks. On these, check fluid from underneath through a fill plug, requiring getting under the car. This is why most people never check it. For these vehicles, follow time-based intervals strictly. When you take your vehicle for transmission service, ensure they use correct fluid type. Transmissions are very specific about fluid requirements. Wrong fluid can cause shifting problems or damage. Correct type is listed in owner's manual and usually stamped on dipstick. Common types include Dexron ZX for GM, Mercon LV for Ford, ATF Plus 4 for Chrysler, and manufacturer-specific fluids for Honda, Toyota, Nissan, and European brands. Always use specified fluid, so here's the bottom line. Lifetime transmission fluid is a myth designed to reduce perceived maintenance costs. Real transmission lifespan with proper fluid maintenance is 200,000 miles or more. Without fluid changes, expect failure around 120,000 miles. Change transmission fluid every 50 to 60,000 miles for normal driving, or 30,000 for severe conditions. Service costs $150 to $250. Transmission rebuild costs $3,000 to $8,000. Spend a little on maintenance or spend a lot on repairs.